Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 24 updates and spoilers. It's the day after Nicole's eviction. Thank you for being here. Our house guests of the day are Isaac Benjamin Songquist and Flower Power Resists. Thank you both so much for your super chats, or not your super chats. We're not there yet. Thank you so much for your support. We could not do this without you, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you again. And if you guys want to be house guests of the day, check out our Patreon link in the info box below. It's only $1 for a holla. Woo! And before we get going, now I want to thank yesterday's super chatters because that's another fantastic way to support our channel. So, Rob Madden, Jefferson Tucker, Robert Smith, Samuel Johnson, Gia R., Dane Thomas, Sammy Ricketts, Jody Cortez, Lonnie Boyette, Maria B., Norm the Cat, Diana Lee Melander, Sean Davis, Christopher Brown, Dawn MH302, Sandy S., Daisha Dawn, Chuckster's Adventures, Shirley Colin, Candy, Kevin Charles, Shane Wright, and Meg McMuffin. Thank you all so much for your super chats. Super chats were freaking popping yesterday, and we appreciate that so much. Yes, happy Friday, everybody. Okay, so, oh my goodness. We got some things to discuss. Some things are very upsetting, so I hope you're ready. But anyway, oh my goodness. Last night, Taylor and Nicole were up on the block, and as we saw, Nicole was evicted by a vote of 9-1. Taylor became besties with Alyssa and Indy as planned, and at the end of the episode, Daniel off on his own while everybody else was having a good time hanging out. So Daniel was asking for Big Brother to buy him a plane ticket. What do you think this is, below deck? You think you're going to get a plane ticket from Captain Lee or Captain Sandy? But he was telling Big Brother, like, oh, I can't believe I have to live with these people. Like, just end the season already. Dude, you were the one that chose to use the power of veto, knowing that your number one ally, Nicole, would go up on the block. You played yourself. My goodness. But anyway, there was no HOH competition on the show. But the feeds came back around 9 p.m. Big Brother time, and we find out that Michael won HOH. Woo! HOH. So 4th competition win for him. That's a big deal. I mean, we're only like a handful of weeks into this season, and he's already got 4 comp wins. That's freaking wild. But anyway, the HOH competition was some sort of like obstacle course. It was the balance beam one where you choose your own path. The one that Sarah Beth won last season. So that's a lot of fun. But because Michael is the HOH for the week, that means his bestie Brittany is also safe for the week. And Michael and Brittany are psyched that they can't be have-nots this week because it was going to be their turn. You know Indy's going to be pissed about that because she like freaked out at Brittany the other week when Brittany was like, we can't be have-nots because it's Michael's birthday. Yeah. Anyway, Michael, Brittany, and Joseph were in the golf bedroom. They're hugging. They're celebrating. They're having a great time. Joe is telling them, enjoy it. And he says he just can't believe what a turn this game has taken. Right? This was looking like a real garbage trash can season. And then things really turned around. Thanks to Turner. The aptly named Turner. But Michael says, if I didn't win that, Kyle would have. Kyle had the next best time, and that would mean that Daniel would have been safe for the week. So Joe is saying he feels kind of bad for Daniel. He doesn't want Daniel to be isolated this week. But also, Daniel is not attributing any fault to himself for his current situation. Yeah, that's kind of an issue. He really needs to realize that he played a huge role in the terrible position that he's in right now. But anyway, Michael and Brittany chat alone in the car bedroom. More celebrating, so exciting. They're hoping that this is going to be the last week before jury starts, because if it is, that means the two of them have made it to the jury. So Michael says he already has an idea of what he wants to do this week. He's saying he wants to backdoor Daniel. This is his immediate thought. Ideally, he would like to put Monty, Joseph, and Terrance up on the block as pawns. And that way, if Daniel and Kyle are picked to play for the power of veto, they're going to have to go up against Monty and Joseph, who are two big physical threats. So the other options for pawns would be Turner and Jasmine, and they'd be able to explain that pretty easily because Turner put them up on the block when he was HOH. So Brittany's like, hell yeah, I'm good with any of these plans. Sounds great to me. So then Michael's explaining if shit hits the fan and the nominations stay the same, the guys stay up on the block, Monty, Terrance, and Joseph, as much as he hates it, Terrance is going to have to go because Terrance would be a vote for Monty, Joseph, or Jasmine before he would vote for Brittany or Michael. Okay, I feel like things have kind of like changed a lot since last night, but we'll get there. So Michael says, I don't want to put up Indy and Alyssa because I feel like they would have our backs. Plus, Taylor is now festy besties with Indy and Alyssa, and I'm not going to put her up on that block a fourth time. Not going to do it. So, because remember, Michael, Brittany, and Taylor are a very tight three. Okay, so bottom line, as of that time, Daniel was the main target this week, and then Terrance would be the other option if they can't get Daniel. So Michael and Brittany agree it's going to be huge if they can get through this week without putting up Jasmine, Indy, or Alyssa, because they really want to make sure that they are good with the girls. They want to be covered on that side of things. Michael is saying he wants to sit back during his HOH chats this week and just let people talk, get information. And Michael is saying he's just so happy that he picked Brittany to be his festy bestie. There was a time where it looked like maybe it wasn't such a great idea because they could be up on the block together, which they were at one point. But things have worked out, and Brittany is also really happy. She just loves Michael so much. Okay, so then Taylor joins them. More celebration, of course. Michael starts filling her in on the plan to backdoor Daniel this week. And again, he's saying it's going to look really good with the girls if we only put up guys this week. And this was also Taylor's plan going into this week. Put up the three guys as pawns and then use the veto, put up Daniel and Kyle, and Daniel is evicted. So Michael lets Taylor know, you're not going up on the block. And she's like, thank you. Finally, it'd be amazing to get a break. So Michael says, again, it makes the most sense for the three guys to go up as pawns because if you look at the other option, Turner and Jasmine, there's a chance that Jasmine might not be able to compete in the power veto because of her injury. She might not be cleared for it. So there is a chance that if Daniel and Kyle are drawn to be in the veto competition, it could just be Michael and Brittany versus Daniel and Kyle. So those odds are not great. I mean, the odds would be so much better if the three guys, Monty, Terrance, and Joseph, are also competing. So Taylor's like, hell yeah, she's on board with the plan. All right. So a little later, Kyle and Monty are chatting in the car bedroom. And Kyle's like, so are we thinking Daniel still this week? And Monty says, yeah, I think Daniel just made himself an obvious target. So Kyle's like, do you think it's going to be a backdoor? He says, I guess Michael is going to have the final call. So then Monty is talking through who the pawns could be this week. So Monty says, Joseph, me, Turner, Jasmine, we all have not seen the block yet. So they would be good candidates to go up. Taylor, probably not going to be down to go up as a nominee this week. She's already been up there a bunch of times. Probably should give her a rest, right? Monty says, if I have to go up on the block, I'm fine with that. But we are going to have to talk Terrance off of the ledge. Because he doesn't know what's going on here. He doesn't know what the actual plan is. They got to keep him in the dark about a lot of things to try and hide the alliance. So Monty's worried about that. But Kyle says, I'm down with whatever Michael wants. They're just really hoping that Kyle and Daniel won't get picked to play for the power veto. Again, I just feel like so much stuff has changed. Okay, so Monty says Daniel is an emotional dude, but he thinks that Daniel is really feeling like an idiot right now because he played such a huge role in Nicole leaving this week. Daniel used the power of veto after Monty warned him not to. And exactly what Monty was saying was going to happen happened. So, yikes. Yeah, I'd be feeling like an idiot. But it sounds like Daniel tried to call Monty out at some point while the feeds were down. I don't know if this was like before the HOH competition or what, but Monty says Daniel is just incriminating himself more. He's giving people more of a reason to vote him out. So Kyle is hoping that Daniel will continue to implode this week because he feels like he'll be safer up on the block next to Daniel if he's like freaking out. So then Kyle chats with Michael in the Jetsons' bedroom, and there's a little bit of talk about who the have-nots will be this week. Michael was really kind of agonizing over this because there aren't a ton of options available, and Michael really does not want Kyle and Daniel to be have-nots because then Daniel would be so close to the HOH room. He's going to be keeping track of who's going in there and out of there, and Michael doesn't want all that surveillance happening. Turns out, I don't think they even have-nots this week. I think they're taking a week off from have-nots. So he was like worrying about this, and it's not even a thing. But Kyle asks Michael, how are you feeling? And Michael says, you know what? I want to talk to Daniel and see where his head is at. Obviously, what happened today is a little concerning. I think he's referring to the blow-up. But Michael says, I don't want to cut off any potential options. I want to hear everybody out here. He's curious what Daniel has to say, especially since Daniel was throwing Michael's name around earlier. And just to remind you, Daniel was calling everyone sheep, saying they're handing over the check to Michael or Monty. But Michael says, I'm not going to rule anything out. You know, I want to make sure we check everything out, every avenue here. So Michael says he will not be putting up Kyle and Daniel as the initial nominees, of course. That'd be silly, right? You don't want to give Daniel more of a chance to win the veto. So Kyle expresses he's a little bit nervous. He says, at this point, Daniel's alone. He's on an island right now. Are people going to start thinking that Daniel's not that big of a threat anymore because he doesn't have anybody? Are they going to see me as a bigger threat next to Daniel? You know, I'm pretty likable. You know, got more connections throughout the house. What if there's a group of people within our alliance that get together to vote me out? The paranoia is creeping in. So Kyle says, I don't think it's likely, but I'm just trying to run through scenarios here. And Michael says, I would die if you went home on my HOH. He does not want that. So Kyle says, all right, we'll walk through some options later and figure it out. I can't. Kyle is really, you'll see. Okay, so later, Indy is alone. She's talking to the cameras, and Indy says, I'm going to tell you what's been going on. So Indy says Daniel was screaming at Monty. Screaming? I'm going to need to see this myself. I don't know if you think he was screaming. I don't know. But she says Daniel was screaming at Monty and saying that Monty didn't want him to use the power of veto on Indy and Alyssa this week, which is true. Monty was telling him, don't use it. But Indy says the house is all against Daniel now. And Indy says she's glad that Taylor is not the house target this week. Not because she really wants Taylor to like stick around, but Taylor is Indy's bestie now and Alyssa's. And if somebody was going to target Taylor, that would mean that Indy would have to go up on the block as well. So Indy is just happy to be staying off the block, right? So then Indy's wondering, like, once Daniel goes, who is Taylor going to target after that? And who is the rest of the house going to target after that? How about we stop doing like the whole house target thing? You know, we're getting pretty deep into the game here. Let's do some individual targets moving forward. But anyway, Indy says it's going to get very interesting once the jury starts. She feels like the house is already feeling so empty and there are still 12 people left. So Indy says, I love everyone and I have so much fun with everyone, but they're all young and irresponsible. And she says she doesn't know how she's going to handle that with her rising Virgo. Because I guess that's like, she's very orderly and neat and clean. And I guess she thinks that these people are pigs. So she says, I'm just planning to lay low this week, hang out in the room, cook, read the Bible. Isn't that what she's been doing this whole time? I haven't really seen Indy doing a ton of gaming here. But anyway, she's very happy that Michael got HOH, and she's hoping that he will keep her safe and that she will make it to jury. Okay, so let's check in with Daniel. What's Daniel up to? He was chatting with Terrance in the car bedroom, and Daniel's like, well, I think I'm going this week. Terrance disagrees. It's not over until it's over. So Daniel says he plans to talk to Michael. He's going to do what he can. You never know. He says Michael seems pretty level-headed about the game. And I would agree. I think Michael is quite logical when it comes to his gameplay. So Terrance says, I feel like me, Monty, and Joseph are going to be backdoored this week. Backdoored? Nah. Put up initially? Probably. So Daniel says, I'm not just going to roll over. Terrance is really glad to hear this, and he tells Daniel, I'm going to be your guy no matter what happens. You can count on me. It really went a long way with Terrance that Daniel gave him a vote, even though, the writing was on the wall. So anyway, or he thought it was. I don't know. So Daniel is hoping that he's going to get a chance to play for the power veto, and this is not going to be some backdoor situation. So they agree that they have each other's backs moving forward. They just want to get through this week, get to jury, and then they can regroup. Terrance reminds Daniel there's always a better option that can go up on the block, right? We just need to figure out who that would be. All right. So later, Monty and Joseph have a game chat in the have-not room. And they know there's a good chance that they're going to be going up on the block as pawns this week. But they don't want it to be a situation where if they can't get Daniel out, that Terrance will become the new target. Obviously they don't want to go either. But they don't want to be in a situation where they're still on the block come Thursday. So they think that the best move strategically for their alliance this week would be for Alyssa, Indy, and Taylor to go up as the pawns, as the initial nominees, because we'll get there. But they're nervous to suggest this because they don't want the alliance to think that they're trying to run the show or that they're scared to go up on the block. Plus, this would be Taylor's, they said fifth, but I'm pretty sure it would be her fourth time, right? This would be Taylor's fourth time up on the block, and they don't want Taylor to hate them. So they feel like they need to bring up the scenarios, though, all of the scenarios, because they feel like if they're up on the block and Kyle and Daniel win the power veto, even if Daniel doesn't use the power veto, Kyle can override it. But they're worried that this would really just scream, hey, we're in an alliance. It's going to expose their leftovers alliance. It's already been pretty exposed, right? People know what's going on for the most part. But if Alyssa, Indy, and Taylor were up on the block and Kyle were to override Daniel to use the veto to save Alyssa, they say that's just screaming, my love. So I see what they're saying. But at the same time, I think they also just don't want to go up on the block, right? So they feel like that's the most logical option, but it wouldn't build trust with their alliance if they avoid going up. So Joe says, we really need to just offer to go up, but we will still present the other option, right? And hopefully it's going to be so obvious that that is the better route to take this week. Okay, so on the other hand, they realize if Michael puts us up, then maybe people aren't going to think that we're working with him anymore. We can throw people off of our tracks. And then if Daniel and Kyle win the power veto and take us down, we can just take out Alyssa this week. No biggie, right? All right. So I think Kyle would have something to say about that. But a little later, Michael gets his HOH room. Yay! So he got pictures of his fiance and his cats. His letter was from his fiance, Hayden. It was very sweet. Hayden said, the girls and I are so proud of you. The girls meaning their three cats, Lila, Sasha, and Megan. So freaking cute. Oh my God. I love that they refer to their cats as the girls. Very fun. But Michael also got a scalp massager, snacks, bubble bath. His music is Marina, formerly Marina and the Diamonds. He got socks, headband, chapstick. It was a good haul. All right, so now they have the HOH room to chat. So later, Kyle and Michael chat in that HOH room, and I'm not feeling this, Kyle. I'm not feeling it. So Kyle says, I've been running through scenarios. I want to see like what possible roads would lead to me being evicted this week. You know, how can we avoid that? So he's asking like, what happens if Daniel and I are up together after the power of veto? He says, I can't get over the fact that Joseph, Monty, and Taylor have extremely close connections with Indy, Terrance, and Jasmine. Oh boy, where is he going with this? So Kyle says best case scenario, Daniel goes this week. It'll be our 7, the Leftovers Alliance, against the 4 other people outside of the Alliance. So Kyle says, I'm thinking about how our alliance was formed. It was because our backs were against the wall. It was based on necessity, right? It wasn't based on a common purpose like the cookout. So Kyle says once we don't have that threat against us, you know, Nicole and Daniel are going to be gone. The 4 people outside of our alliance are going to start looking more like opportunities, you know, people that we can work with to go against the alliance. So Kyle says Monty, Joseph, and Taylor all share common purposes for being in this game as Indy, Terrance, and Jasmine. No. So Kyle says, I'm really worried that they're going to piece this together and they're going to start working together. And then me, you, Alyssa, Turner, and Brittany are just going to be 5 against their 6. So Kyle says, this kind of keeps me up a little bit at night. Oh my God. So Kyle says, I don't mind if Daniel goes. I don't know that I necessarily trust him or anything like that. But he says that group of 6, that potential group of 6, Monty, Joseph, Taylor, Indy, Terrance, and Jasmine, they have a background that looks very similar to the cookout, but with a more diverse background, right? It's not just Black House guests. It's all kinds of people of color. So, Kyle, what are you doing here? I feel like he has gone from hero to zero so quickly. First, like, he's thrown away his game for the showmans. Now he is grouping together all the people of color and saying that they're working together, and he wants to, like, divide the house in that way and target them. What? So Kyle says that's his biggest fear right now. And Michael's like, I don't see Taylor voting to keep Daniel after everything that's happened between the 2 of them. Also, Kyle is then saying, well, we can avoid that 6 grouping together by keeping Daniel and Alyssa this week. We can take out Indy, Jasmine, or Terrance instead. Ew, you suck. Ugh. So again, Kyle is trying to basically turn this into a white people versus the people of color situation. So Michael is definitely skeptical during this combo. He's like, I don't see Taylor being that close to the people in that potential group. Not really seeing that. But thank God this conversation was interrupted by the arrival of the rest of the leftovers, minus Joseph. So Michael's asking for everyone's thoughts, and they agree that Daniel should go through the back door. So then, of course, they got to figure out who will be the pawns. So Turner volunteers to go up as a pawn with Jasmine. He's like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. Like, I don't want Taylor to have to go up again. And Michael's like, cool, that's awesome. Thank you for volunteering. But Michael's worried that Jasmine would potentially not be cleared to compete for the power veto. So he's like, you got any other takers here? So Monty says, Joe and I have already talked about it, and we would be cool with going up as Terrance as the pawns. And then if Kyle and Daniel are selected to play and they win, we have some options here. You know, we could either get rid of Terrance if we stay up on the block, or Kyle could use his power veto. We'll have Taylor, Alyssa, and Indy go up on the block, and we'll vote out Alyssa. Okay, so Monty also talks about how the 3 guys going up would be good for optics. They could try to hide their alliance if everyone hasn't already figured it out. But everyone seems to be on board with this plan. They're fine with Monty, Terrance, and Joseph going up on the block. So Monty is also like, I want to let you guys know, Indy has approached me. She is trying to start an alliance with me, Joe, Monty, Jasmine, and Terrance. Oh my God, Kyle's nightmare. Just missing Taylor. So you know that's going to come back up again. But Monty is very forthcoming about this, wants them to know about it, so it's not like some shady business going on. So today, Michael is thinking out loud, sharing his thoughts with us, the live feed viewers. And Michael says he feels okay with the alliance right now. But his biggest concern is that he thinks a lot of the biggest threats in the game are in this leftovers alliance. You know, you've got Joe, you've got Monty. He doesn't seem as concerned about Kyle. But Michael says, I don't want to look back and wish that I had taken a shot earlier. But he's also not sure, is it too early to take a shot at the leftovers? Because if you take a shot too soon, the numbers outside of the alliance may take over. It would be 6-5 if the rest of us stayed together, right? That's assuming that the alliance would stay together, but like, would it if he was to take a shot at it? I don't know about that. So, all right, then Michael starts going through all the house guests and giving us his thoughts on them. So he says, Taylor, not going anywhere this week. No way. Daniel is complicated. He really wants to hear what Daniel has to say. He doesn't necessarily want Daniel to leave this week. He's kind of changed his tune from what he was saying right after he won HOH. He says Indy would be a great person to sit next to in the final two. He loves her on a personal level. And on a game level, he feels like a lot of people don't really want to see her win. I mean, she hasn't really done much yet. There's still a lot of game left to be played, but she's not really doing much at this point. He has pretty much the same thing to say about Jasmine and Terrance. He likes both of them as people, but he feels like they're playing harder than they're letting on, and he's not sure that he's necessarily part of either of their plans. Joseph, he says, is a huge physical threat, but he hasn't won any competitions yet. So, you know, there's always that potential there, but he hasn't sealed the deal yet. Monty, Michael feels that Monty is the biggest threat to win this whole thing. He's a competitor. He's smart. He's really well liked. But Michael feels like if he takes a shot at Monty, he would also be taking a shot at Joe. So he's not sure that this is the time to go for Monty, but he also doesn't want Monty to get too deep into this game. And he says, Monty volunteered to go up as a pawn this week. If he somehow ends up going, I'm not going to be mad about it. Oh my God. Okay. So then he says he really likes Alyssa. He thinks that she's a good liar, which is funny because the other day she was saying like, I can't lie. I'm so bad at it. Bah. He's not planning on taking Alyssa out this week. He gets to Kyle. He says, I love Kyle. I talk the most game with him, probably out of anybody. Kyle's talking some nonsense. I won't be listening to him. But he says, I don't really want to risk Kyle's game by putting him up this week. But if we are going to take out Daniel, that's something that he's going to have to do, right? Because Daniel and Kyle are besties. He says Turner is not going anywhere this week. And then he says he loves Brittany. He would love to go to the final two with her. They are the Chen bots. That's what they call themselves. That's a really fun name. But yeah, that's his viewpoint on everybody at this point. I don't know if he left anybody out, but that's what he said. So he says if everything goes according to plan, a guy will be leaving this week. All right. So then Michael starts doing his one-on-one meetings, and I'm not going to go through every single one because there's a lot of talk about Daniel being the target this week, most likely a backdoor target. But let's talk about Michael and Daniel chatting in the HOH room. So Michael says, obviously, I know you and Nicole were really close. So how are you doing today? How are you feeling? And Daniel says, I feel pretty broken. He's just trying not to cry right now. He says, this is just a reminder for me of the fear that I have of losing people in real life. And that makes me really sad, just knowing what we know about how his brother was murdered. Like, I feel really bad if that's like triggering him now, losing Nicole. But he says with everything that's happened, I still want to hang out. I still want to have fun in here, enjoy my time in the house. So Daniel tells Michael, we've talked about this before. I would like to work with you moving forward. He thanks Michael for being honest with him about his vote a few times now. And he tells Michael, I'm a free agent right now. I am willing to do anything to get further in this game. You can use me to take shots at people that you don't want to necessarily take shots at yourself. I will do your dirty work for you. Just use me. He also says, if you keep me one more week, I'm assuming we would be in the jury phase of the game. And I can promise you would have my jury vote locked in if you make it to the final two. So Michael says, of course, like a lot of people are going to be suggesting Daniel as a target this week. So he's wondering, do I give them what they want and not ruffle any feathers? Or do I do what you're saying? We do something a little different. Michael says, I see the value there in keeping you. I think you would be valuable for my game. And I think it would benefit a lot of other people to take you out more than it would for my own personal game. So Michael tells Daniel, I don't want to make you any promises right now. But the way things are looking, people are going to be expecting a backdoor of Daniel. So Michael says, I'm probably not going to put you up on the block initially. But then, if there's a situation where the power of veto doesn't get used, and you don't go up on the block, Daniel says, it wouldn't be your fault. So interesting here. It seems like Michael more and more does not want Daniel to go this week. So then Michael and Kyle are chatting in the HOH room, and Kyle's like, was I overthinking that whole cookout thing? He brings it up multiple times during this conversation. He's definitely still thinking about it. Ugh. So Kyle brings up, of course, how Monty mentioned the alliance that Indy was proposing with Joseph, Jasmine, and Terrance. So they agree, Monty telling them about that shows that they are Monty's priority right now. But Kyle is worried, is this still going to be the case in 2 weeks if we get rid of Daniel and Alyssa next? So Michael says, best case scenario, Kyle and Daniel get picked for the power veto and win. Oh my God. Best case. So Michael definitely, it seems like, does not want Daniel to leave this week. Michael's saying he would not want the power veto used. And then they could vote out Terrance. And I'm thinking he probably would rather see Monty or Joseph go, but he's not going to be talking to people right now about that other than maybe Brittany, maybe Kyle. But yeah, he's saying we'll just vote out Terrance. So Michael also shares this with Brittany, how he's saying he would like to see Kyle and Daniel win the veto and leave the nominations the same. And Brittany agrees, we would have a tough time beating those buff dudes in the end. So it could be the week to make a move. I don't know. I think it might be early. I don't know. Am I Helen? Is it too early? I don't know. But they really want to see what happens with this power veto. That's going to determine a lot. So nominations are happening tonight. Somebody was saying it's happening now. Okay. I don't know if the feeds went down or what. But it's looking like it's going to be Monty, Joseph, and Terrance up on the block. And then, like I said, everything is going to come down to this veto. That's going to determine a lot because Michael is going to see what happens with that, go from there. Potential targets this week could still just be Daniel, could be Terrance if nominations stay the same, but it could also be Monty or Joseph. Hello.
Hellozies.
We'll see how it shakes out, but it could be very interesting. And I know everybody is waiting for a Muffin Gate update. So Jasmine,
you're solving it?
Yeah, Jasmine had set aside a bag this time with I think a muffin and cookies in it.
You ate the half?
Was it you, Joseph? So this time, late night, Turner goes over to the baggie, which has a passive aggressive note on it or something, that's all these are Jasmine's cookies, don't eat these.
Wow.
So Turner takes the muffin out of the bag and puts it in the freezer. And then he pours water into the baggie with the cookies in there. So I don't know if Jasmine has discovered this yet. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
But Turner is having a grand old time messing with her. And It's a fun little game we got going on here. Yes, Turner was the muffin eater. He is the muffin man. So yeah. So that's fun. But if you want to check back later, I will post the nominees in the info for the spoiler. And then tomorrow's POV is gonna be interesting.
Is it gonna be lit?
We'll see. I mean, it's gonna depend who wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I want to thank all of our super chatters before we head out for the evening. Chloe!
Chloe said, "Where are we going?"
Chloe! We're just gonna stop our stream.
He said
So-
he ate the half.
Yeah, he ate the muffin. So thank you so much to Angela H. Deb Wicks, thank you so much. Deb says, so glad Michael won. Gonna be a good week. I just hope that Michael doesn't mess up. Daisha Dog, thank you so much. Wait, Daisha has a secret. Daisha says, I'm a cop. Just kidding. Good one. And thank you. Sean Davis, thank you so much. Sean says, about time we get quality interviews for an evicted house guest, right? I mean, I think they were holding Nicole accountable for what she's been saying in the house. Sean says, I think once Nicole has time to decompress from the game, I think she will be able to take accountability fully. I hope that she will. I haven't seen any of her interviews yet. I've just seen screen caps of some of the questions that were being asked. But I hope that she will reflect on her time in the house and make some apologies. Right? That's what we want to see when there's a situation like this.
Own it.
Yeah, own it. Darby C, thank you so much for the super chat. And Belle Epoch, thank you so much for your super chat. And Belle says, oh, hi. Long time watcher.
He's gotta leave.
Bowie, come on.
Get out.
Long time watcher. First time super chatter. Love you guys. Oh, much love to you. Best and most accurate BB spoilers on YouTube. Thank you so much. We so appreciate that. So thank you again to all of our super chatters. Might as well pack my bags now. Thank you all so much for being here. We will be back tomorrow for more fun. So until next time, much love. Good night, everybody. Bye. Bye. Bye.